Hello everybody, welcome back. In this video, we are going to be focusing towards creating some of the elements for the form that we have inside of our login page. So by the form, I mean the input field for the email, password, and that's pretty much all the form contains. So with that said, let's get into it and let's see how we're going to be doing this. So in the pursuit of modularization, what I'm going to be doing is that similar to what I did for our login page's title, I'm going to be adding a function to our column, and this function is going to be responsible for creating the UI for our login form. And then what I'll do is that I'll add a comma. After this, I'll go down and I'll create a function which I'll call with login form, which will return a widget. Then inside of here, what I'll do is that I'll say that I'm going to return a container. This container is going to have firstly a height associated with it, and that height is going to be the device's height times 0.18, and then following that I'll have a child for our container. Well, what is this child going to be? Well, it's going to be a form widget. A form widget expects us to give it a child, but before I give it a child, what I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to defining a key for our form. So the key for our form refers to the key that's going to kind of like maintain the state of our form. So now we have to go ahead and define that first before we can define the children for our form. So similar to what we did, I'm going to go to the login page state class's top, and there what I'm going to do is that I'm going to define a variable, which I'll call a final variable, which means that once it's assigned, its value is never going to change. And then I'm going to say login form key is equals to, and I'm going to be global key of type form state. With this, I'm going to add the brackets and then a semicolon and do command save. And I'm going to come down to where we had our form, and then I'll set the key to be the form login form key. With this done, the next thing that I'm going to do is that I'll define the child for our form. And the child for our form is going to be a column, and the reason for that is because we need two things inside of our form. We need an email ID input field as well as a password info field, and that's why we're going to be using a column, because it allows us to put multiple children inside of it and in a fashion that they are vertically stacked. Similar to what we did before, I'll define the main axis size for my column, and that is going to be main axis size and then dot maximum, so the maximum amount that it can stretch. Then I'll have our main axis alignment, that is going to be main axis alignment and then dot space between. And then finally, I'll have my cross axis alignment, and the cross axis alignment is going to be cross axis alignment dot center. And with this, I'm going to define the children attribute and do Alt-Shift F, command save. So now for the children, we need two things. We need a form field and we need another form field. But I know that in the development of our application, there are going to be many points on many different pages where we'll require a form field similar to what we require on our login page. An instance of this kind of use case can be seen is that our login page has an email field, which is exactly the same as our password field, just slight changes in it. That depends on like the text that's being shown as well as the regex that's involved in validating the value and things like that. But in essence, it's 80% the same. And then if you go to our create an account page, you're going to see that there we also have the similar form field as well. So I do not want to have code duplication in my application. I definitely want to follow the DRY principle, which is don't repeat yourself. And that's what I think all good programmers should do, is you should write code once and use it everywhere and shouldn't have a lot of code that's just duplicated. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go to my lib folder, and I'm going to be creating a widget here inside of a folder, which I'm going to call widgets. And then this widgets folder is going to have a new file that I'm going to make, and this file is going to be called our custom input fields, let's just say. So I'm going to have inside of our widget folder a new file called custom input fields and then dart. And then I'll open this up. So inside of here, what I'll do is that I'll define our actual widget for our text form field, let's just say, and then we'll use it at multiple different pages, and how we're going to do this will become apparent in just a bit. So I'm going to import the only package that we need, and that's our material package provided to us by Flutter. And then I'm going to create my class, which is going to be called the custom text form field, and it'll extend a stateless widget. Once that is done, I'm going to open up the class definition and I'll define some variables that we require access to that are going to be passed in. First is going to be a function which is going to have a string passed into it, and this function will be onSaved. So what happens when we call the onSaved function on our text form field? Finally, we'll also have another final, and this is going to be a string which will be the regex that is going to be used. So regex just is short for regular expression, which we're going to use to actually validate the input that's being put into our custom text form field. Then I'll also like to have the ability to change the hint text, so I'll also have a hint text string that gets passed in, and then I'll have a Boolean value called obscure text, which will determine whether the text in this field should be obscured or not. Then I'll define the constructor for my actual custom text form field, and then all of these arguments will be named required arguments. So for that, what I'll do is that I'll add these curly brackets, and then inside of these curly brackets, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to say that required, and then I'm going to say this dot onSaved. Then similar to this, I'll do required this dot regex, and then required this dot hint text, and then finally required this dot obscure text. And now that this is done, I'm going to go down to the build function, which I'm going to define, and with this our error should be gone, which we were getting. And I am going to now return the actual widget that is going to be built. So I'm going to return a text form field widget that is provided to us by Flutter. The first thing that I'm going to define for this is going to be the onSaved function. So once the onSaved is called on this text form field, what do we want to do? Well, we want to take the value that is provided to us, and we just want to pass it on to the function that we had passed in, which is the onSaved function that we defined. And that's pretty much it. And we're going to send it the value, and then I'm going to add an exclamation mark saying that there is going to be a value, and then add a semicolon at the end. So this onSaved function refers to the onSaved function that gets passed in by us, as we had defined here earlier in the class definition. Now that we have the onSaved function defined, the next thing is going to be the color of our cursor. So that refers to the color of our cursor, and in this case, as you can see, it's white, so I'm going to set that to be colors.white. With this, the next thing is going to be the style. And the style refers to the style of the text that gets inputted into our actual text form field. And that is going to be just a simple text style where we just define one property, which is the color for our text. Then I'll have the obscure text property, and that I'll just set to whatever we pass in. Then we're going to have a validator function. And this validator function, we get the value that's currently in our text form field. And then we do whatever calculations we need to do, and then we either return null or we return a string. And then if we return a string, that means that there was an error in the validation, and that string is going to be shown as an error underneath of our form field. And I'll show you this in action just in some later videos. But for now, for our validator function, what we'll do is that we'll say that we're going to return, and what we'll do is that we'll use a regular expression, and we'll pass the regular expression that we have. And then we're going to do has match on that. So if our regular expression matches with the input that is currently inside of our text form field, then what we are going to do is that we are going to return null. That means that we have a valid input. And if that is not the case, then we're just going to return a string, which is going to say enter a valid value, like this. And that's pretty much all we have to do for our validator function. So now that we have the validator defined, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to do command save, and I'm going to go back to our application that we have, and I'm going to go back to our login page, and I'm going to actually add these custom text form fields to our login page. To do that, I'm going to go to the top, and I'm going to import my widget in first. So I'm going to do the / widgets, just to say that I'm importing my widgets here, and then I'll do import .. and then widgets, and then custom input fields .. dart. And with this, I'm going to come down to our login form, and here I'm going to do custom text form field. And this is going to add all of the different things that we need to give to it. So we need to give an onSaved function. So for the onSaved function, I'll say that we get passed in a value. And for now, we just have an empty onSaved function, so it doesn't do anything. For the regular expression, I have this regular expression that you can find in the GitHub repo, and you can copy and paste it in. And then it just defines what characters are we looking for, what things we have to match for, and things like that. And since this course isn't a course on regular expressions, I'm not going to go too much into what regular expressions do, but on how you define them. But just as an overview, regular expressions are a very powerful tool that are used in a whole host of programming environments and solutions, and they allow us to actually pick up sequences of text by defining some certain characteristics inside of the string that we pass in, and then we can actually match and pick up certain sequences of strings from a big string, let's just say. Then I'm going to define the hint text. Since this is going to be a field for our email, I'm going to set that hint text to be email. And then finally, for the obscure text property, I'll set that to false. And then I'm going to add a semicolon or a comma, sorry, at the end, and do command save. And you're going to see that our actual text field is showing up, as you can see here, and I can type stuff in. So now we have to actually address the styling aspect of it. So I'm going to go back to our widget custom input fields.dart file, and I'm going to define the decoration attribute for my text field. So the decoration attribute refers to how the custom text field is going to be styled, let's just say. And I'm going to say that the decoration is going to be of type input decoration. And then we're going to have a fill color. So the fill color is going to be color.from RGBO. So this is the background color for our actual file. And I'm going to say it's going to be 30, 29, 37, and 1.0. Add a comma, then Alt-Shift-F command save. And with this, I'm going to move on, and I'm going to say that it's going to be filled. And if I say filled true, then you're going to see that the color now appears. With this, the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to define the border for our custom text field, and it's going to be outline input border. And then inside of here, we define a border radius, which is going to be border radius dot circular, and then 10.0. And then with this, we'll also have a border side. So border side, and then it's going to be border side dot none, and a comma, and do a comma here as well, and command save. So now, as you can see, our text field kind of mimics similar to what we had in our design files. Finally, we're going to have the hint text, and the hint text will be equal to whatever hint text that we get passed in. And now its email is going to be shown. And finally, the text style for our hint text is going to be text style, and then color, and then colors dot white 54. With this, I'm going to do Alt-Shift-F command save, and you're going to see that now we have access to our custom input field. So now that we have this done, I'm going to go back to our login page, and then to the login form function, and then to our column, and then where we define our custom text form field. And I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to add another custom text form field here, like this. Do Alt-Shift-F just to reformat the code. And then what I'm going to do this time is that I'm going to change some of the properties for this other custom text form field. So this custom text form field, the second one, is going to be responsible for taking in the password. So the obscure text property is going to be true, because we do want to obscure the text. And the regular expression is going to be very simple. All we're going to check is that the password that is entered needs to be more than 8 characters long. The onSaved function will still keep it empty. We'll come back to this later. And then the hint text is going to be password. And with this done, I'm going to do command save, and you're going to see that now we have two different form fields which have slightly different attributes, and we can use them, and we have very little code duplication going on right now, as opposed to if we had this whole widget that we would have to have copied twice and pasted it in here, and our function would have been very huge and very confusing. But now it's very concise, as you can see. And we're going to be using this custom text form field widget that we made in many different places inside of our application. So it's good to kind of like separate the logic and separate our code into different files and keep our project very organized. So with this, I'm going to do command save, and I'm going to end this video here because I think it's been a fairly long video. And in the next video, we're also going to be focusing towards creating another custom widget, which when we get to that video, I'll introduce to you guys. So with that, thank you for watching. And please leave a review on my course, recommend it to your friends, join our Discord community. And if you have any input for me, don't forget to ask a question or leave a comment to me on Udemy or on our Discord community, and I'll get back to you guys. So with that, thank you again, and I'll see you guys in the next video.